The starship Celestial Wanderer drifted through the void between star systems, carrying its mixed crew of humans and aliens from the Galactic Alliance. Leah Morrison sat in the mess hall, eating her dinner alone as usual. The 28-year-old botanist had been assigned to this research vessel 6 months ago, and still felt like an outsider among the crew. Leah looked up from her meal when she heard the distinctive chittering laughter of the Vexari aliens who made up about a third of the crew. The tall insectoid beings were huddled together at their usual table, casting glances in her direction. Their compound eyes glimmered with what Leah had learned to recognize as mischief. The door to the mess hall slid open, and Captain Olivia Barrett entered, nodding to various crew members as she made her way toward the food dispensers. Her short brown hair was neatly trimmed and her uniform crisp. Despite the long shift she had just completed, Olivia was one of the few humans who had been genuinely welcoming to Leah. The ship suddenly lurched, throwing several crew members from their seats. The emergency lights flashed and the alarm blared overhead, warning unidentified vessel approaching, all crew to battle stations. This is not a drill, repeated the ship's AI system. Leah rushed to her designated emergency station in the botany lab, where she secured the rare specimens they had collected from the last habitable planet. The ship shook again, more violently this time. Through the observation window, Leah spotted the attacking vessel. It was unlike anything in the Alliance database, sleek with a purple-black hull that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The strange ship fired again, hitting the Celestial Wanderer with precision. 4 hours later, Leah awoke in a holding cell. Her head throbbed and her vision was blurry as she tried to make sense of her surroundings. The cell was small, with glowing purple walls that hummed with energy. Several other crew members were in adjacent cells, including Captain Barrett, and a few of the Vexari guards appeared outside the cells. Their bodies were humanoid, but with scaled skin in shades of teal and violet. They wore elaborate armor adorned with symbols Leah didn't recognize. One of the guards approached Leah's cell. The translator implanted behind her ear activated as the alien spoke. The Emperor wishes to see the humans. Prepare them for audience. The guards led Leah and Captain Barrett through winding corridors of the massive alien ship. The architecture was grand and imposing, with soaring ceilings and intricate patterns etched into metallic surfaces that shifted colors as they passed. They entered a vast throne room where a regal alien sat upon an elevated platform. He was larger than the guards, his scales a deep royal purple with gold accents. His eyes were entirely black and seemed to peer directly into Leah's. Sole beside the Emperor stood a smaller female alien. Her scales were a luminescent silver blue, and she wore an elaborate headdress that marked her as royalty. The Princess Leah realized Princess Zarala, the Emperor's daughter, according to the whispered translation from the guard. The Emperor spoke, his voice booming through the chamber. You humans have encroached upon Akrelian territory. Your kind are known to us as warriors and conquerors. We have studied your species for many cycles. My advisors believe you intend to colonize our worlds, Captain. Barrett stepped forward. We are a research vessel, Your Highness. We had no knowledge this was Akrelian space. We seek only scientific discovery, not conquest. The Emperor made a gesture that Leah interpreted as skepticism. A test. Then he declared, we shall determine the true nature of humans. The court fell silent as the Emperor rose from his throne. His imposing figure towered over them all. By ancient Akrelian law, I bestow my daughter, Princess Zarala, upon the human female as bondmate. The crowd gasped. The Emperor continued, if humans are truly peaceful, the bond will flourish. If not, the bond will reveal your true intentions. Zarala stepped forward, her silver blue scales shimmering in the chamber's light. The guards pushed Leah forward despite her protests. The princess examined Leah with those dark, unfathomable eyes. The Emperor spoke again. You will reside together in the diplomatic quarters for 1 full cycle. If harmony is achieved, we will consider releasing your crew and vessel. If not, he left the threat unspoken. Leah and Zarala were escorted to luxurious quarters with views of the stars. The princess sat gracefully on a cushioned bench, while Leah paced nervously. This is absurd. Leah finally said, I can't be bonded to you. I don't even know what that means. Zarala spoke, her voice melodic through the translator. My father believes he has sentenced you to humiliation. The Vexari on your ship informed us that humans consider cross-species unions taboo. They suggested this would be the ultimate punishment for trespassing in our space. Leah stopped pacing the Vexari. She remembered their chittering laughter in the mess hall. They had set this up, Zarala continued. But I requested this arrangement. I have studied humans in secret for many cycles. Your species fascinates me. Your adaptability, your emotions, your concept of love. I wish to learn more. And the princess hesitated, her scales shifting to a deeper blue. I wish to experience motherhood with a human. The Vexari told us humans can assist in reproduction across species using their advanced genetic techniques. Leah collapsed into a chair. This is a prank, she said weakly. The Vexari are playing a joke on both of us. Zarala moved closer, her scales now pulsing with gentle light. No human. This is my chance for freedom. In Akrelian culture, a royal who produces an heir with an alien species is granted independence from imperial control. I choose you because your personnel file shows you were once a genetic engineer before becoming a botanist. Leah looked up in surprise. How did you? We have been monitoring your communications. The princess admitted, you possess the knowledge to help me create a child, a new being that is both Akrelian and human. In return, I will convince my father to release your crew. Next morning, Leah awoke in the strange quarters feeling disoriented. The reality of her situation came flooding back. She was essentially a prisoner forced into an arrangement she never agreed to. Yet as she watched Zarala moving gracefully around, their shared space, something stirred within her. A curiosity, perhaps. Zarala noticed Leah watching her. The princess's scales rippled with a soft pink hue that Leah hadn't seen before. I have arranged a tour of our ship if you wish to learn more about Akrelian culture, she offered. There is much beauty here that might surprise you. Despite her reservations, Leah agreed. The princess led her through sections of the massive vessel that ordinary prisoners would never see. There were gardens with strange, alien plants that seemed to sing as they passed art galleries displaying three-dimensional works that changed based on the viewer's emotional state, and vast observatories where Akrelian scientists studied the cosmos. Leah was particularly drawn to the Botanical Research Center. The alien plants were nothing like those she had studied yet. Some of the basic principles seemed universal. The Akrelian botanists regarded her with curiosity, but not hostility. One elderly Akrelian with pale green scales approached them. Princess Zarala, he said with a respectful bow. Is this your human bondmate? Yes, Zarala replied. This is Leah Morrison. She was a botanist on the human vessel. The old scientist studied Leah with interest. Perhaps she would like to see our hybridization chamber. It might be relevant to your future endeavors. Princess Leah followed them to a laboratory where plants from different worlds were being genetically combined to create new species. The technology was far beyond anything humans had developed. Do you use similar techniques with higher life forms? Leah asked, trying to sound casual. The scientist exchanged a look with Zarala. Of course, the same principles apply, though with greater complexity. We have successfully created hybrid beings from compatible species for generations. That evening, as they returned to their quarters, Leah found herself conflicted. The Akrelians were not the hostile warriors she had expected. They were sophisticated, cultured, and in many ways more advanced than humans. But she was still essentially a captive, and the crew of the Celestial Wanderer remained imprisoned. Zarala seemed to sense her turmoil. Would you like to communicate with your captain? She offered. I can arrange a secure. Channelia nodded gratefully. When Captain Barrett's face appeared on the communication screen, Leah felt a surge of emotion. Olivia was looking tired but unharmed. Leah, are you all right? The captain asked. Have they hurt you? No, Leah assured her. I'm fine. They actually want my help with something genetic engineering. Barrett frowned. Be careful, Leah. This could be a trick to get human technology. Leah glanced at Zarala, who had respectfully moved out of earshot. It's complicated, Captain. I think I might be able to negotiate for our release, but I need time. Do what you must. Barrett said just stay safe. We can hold out a while longer. After ending the call, Leah turned to find Zarala watching her with those unfathomable dark eyes. Your captain cares for you, the princess observed. That is good. Loyalty is valued among Akrelians too. Leah took a deep breath, feeling suddenly bold enough to ask the question that had been troubling her. Since we first met, you've talked about wanting a child with me. Is that truly possible with our different biologies? Zarala gestured for Leah to sit beside her on the bench overlooking the stars. With your knowledge and our technology. Yes, it is possible, she said. I have studied the records of previous cross-species hybridizations. It would require combining genetic material from both of us modified to be compatible and grown in an artificial environment until viable. Then I would carry the child, and this would free you from your father, Leah said slowly. Zarala nodded her scales, shifting to a contemplative blue, and potentially free your crew as well. The Emperor respects our traditions above all else. If I bear a viable hybrid heir, he would be bound by our most sacred laws to honor my independence and any pacts I make, including one with humans. Captain Barrett was permitted to visit after 2 weeks. Her expression was concerned. Leah, what are you doing? She asked when they had a moment alone. The crew is still imprisoned while you're playing house with an alien princess. I'm trying to save us. All Leah replied, I think I can do it. Olivia, I can create a viable embryo. If Zarala becomes pregnant with a hybrid child, the Emperor will have to honor their traditions. Barrett sighed heavily, looking skeptical. But can you trust them? Leah considered. The question I trust Zarala, she said after a moment. I don't know about the Emperor or the rest of them. But I believe Zarala will keep her word. Be careful. Barrett warned. You may think you know her, but she's still alien. Her motivations, her thinking, even her emotions might be completely different from what you imagine. After the captain left, Leah returned to the laboratory. She had been working with Akrelian geneticists for days now, studying the compatibility of human and Akrelian DNA. The process was complex but not impossible. Thanks to the advanced Akrelian technology and her own background in genetic engineering, she was making progress. The lead Akrelian scientist, a female named Vexra, had become almost friendly. She seemed genuinely excited about the project. Your species is remarkably adaptable, Vexra commented as they examined a simulation of combined genetic sequences. Much more so than most we have encountered. That makes this process easier than expected. Leah watched the simulated DNA strands combining and recombining on the holographic display. How many times have you done this before, she asked. Creating hybrids. I mean. Vexra made a gesture that Leah had learned was the equivalent of a shrug I personally have assisted with. 3 cross-species royal offspring, she said, but none with a species as distant from us as humans. This is unprecedented. Will it be healthy? Leah asked the question that had been troubling her. Will the child suffer because of what we're doing? Vexra considered this. The simulations show a viable organism, she said, one that will develop normally within the parameters of both species. There will be differences, of course. The child will be unique. But our technology can correct any serious developmental issues. Later that evening, Leah shared her progress with Zarala. The princess listened intently, her scales shifting through subtle colors that reflected her emotions. The process is working, I think, Leah said. We should be ready for the final stage in a few days. Zarala took Leah's hands in her own. I cannot express my gratitude, she said, her voice soft. You are giving me not just freedom, but the greatest gift one being can give another. Leah felt a warmth spread through her. It was strange how natural it felt now to be touched by Zarala, how the alienness of her had faded. I have a question, she said. There was something I'd like to understand better. Ask anything, the princess encouraged. When the child is born, if this works, what happens? Then Leah asked, what will be my role? Zarala seemed surprised by the question. That depends on what you wish, she said. In Akrelian tradition, the bondmates who create a royal hybrid are forever honored. They may remain together as true mates, or they may part ways, with the non-custodial parent always welcome to visit the child. And if I wanted to stay? Leah asked, her heart beating faster. To be a true mate, as you call it. What would that mean? The princess's scales rippled with a deep rose color that Leah had come to recognize as emotion. It would mean joining your life with mine. She said we would raise our child together. You would have a place of honor in our society. A home on Acrelia if you wished it, or we could travel the stars. The choice would be ours, Leah thought of Earth, of her small apartment in the Alliance capital, of her work in the botanical gardens. It had been a good life, but a lonely one. Here with Zarala, she had found something unexpected. Connection, understanding, perhaps even love, though she was still afraid to name it that. The day came when the procedure was ready. Leah had prepared everything meticulously, working with Acrelian medical technology that was far advanced beyond human science. Zarala lay on the medical platform, her scales a nervous pale blue. Are you certain? Leah asked one final time. The princess reached out her slender hand, touching Leah's face. I am certain, she said. I choose this. I choose you. The procedure took several hours. The Acrelian geneticists worked alongside, Leah combining their expertise with hers. They extracted genetic material from both Leah and Zarala, modified it carefully to ensure compatibility, and created an embryo that contained elements of both species. Finally, they transferred the embryo to Zarala's reproductive system. The princess remained conscious throughout the procedure, her dark eyes fixed on Leah. Now, we wait, Vexra said when it was complete. It will take approximately 1 day for implantation to be confirmed. If successful, the hybrid will develop over a period of 4 of your Earth months, much faster than a typical human gestation, but slower than an Acrelian one. Leah stayed by Zarala's side as the princess rested after the procedure. They had been given a private recovery room with views of the stars. They spoke little, both lost in their own thoughts, contemplating the magnitude of what they had done. The next day, the medical scanners confirmed what they had hoped for. The embryo had successfully implanted and was beginning to develop. The Acrelian doctors were cautiously optimistic. It is done, Zarala said, her scales glowing with joy. Our child grows within me. The news was relayed to the emperor, who immediately summoned them both to the royal audience chamber. Leah felt nervous as they approached. Zarala insisted on walking, despite the doctor's recommendations that she rest. Whatever happens now, the princess said as they stood outside the massive doors, remember that what we have done is something wonderful. Something new. Days passed as Leah and Zarala learned about each other. The princess was intelligent, curious, and surprisingly warm, despite her alien appearance. She showed Leah historical records of previous Acrelian crossbreeds, explaining how they had strengthened the empire through diversity. Each night they slept in separate chambers, but each day they grew closer. Leah accessed the ship's genetic laboratory with Zarala's authorization. Using her training, she began to understand Acrelian biology. The princess' reproductive system was not so different from human biology in its basic functions. With careful manipulation, it might be possible to create an embryo with genetic material from both of them. One evening, as they shared a meal of strange alien fruits and synthesized proteins, Zarala asked Leah about Earth. Tell me about your home. Leah, the princess, said, her scales glimmering with curiosity. In all my studies, I have never met a human who could describe it firsthand. Leah found herself speaking of forests and oceans, of busy cities and quiet countryside, of the diversity of human cultures and traditions. Zarala listened with rapt attention, asking questions that revealed a deep understanding of social dynamics. In return, Zarala told Leah about her homeworld, Acrelia, a planet of vast crystal forests and deep purple seas, where the Acrelians had evolved from aquatic ancestors. The royal family, she explained, was ancient, tracing their lineage back thousands of cycles, but I have never felt truly part of it. Zarala admitted, her scales darkening. I was born to be a diplomatic tool, an alliance through marriage, nothing more. My father sees me only as an asset to strengthen the empire. Leah reached out impulsively, touching Zarala's hand. The princess scales warmed under her touch. Is that why you want a child? She asked. To escape that fate. Partly, Zarala said, but also because I have watched humans, and your capacity for love fascinates me. Acrelians are not cold as some species believe, but our emotions are different, more controlled. An Acrelian royal child would be raised by attendants taught duty above all else, but a hybrid child I could raise it myself with human compassion and Acrelian wisdom. That night Leah lay awake thinking of Zoralis. Words what had begun as a forced arrangement was becoming something else. She found herself drawn to the princess, not just to her exotic beauty, but to her mind, her spirit, her yearning for freedom. What would it mean to create a child with her, a being that was part human, part Acrelian? The first of its kind. The next day Leah was permitted to visit the other human crew members. They were being held in comfortable but secure quarters. Captain Barrett took Leah aside, concern evident in her expression. "The crew is getting restless," she said. "Some think you've forgotten about us, others think you've been brainwashed by these aliens." Leah shook her head. "I'm working on a solution, Olivia. It's delicate, but I think it will work. The princess wants my help to create a hybrid child. In their culture that would give her special status, she could negotiate our release." Barrett looked shocked. "You're going to have a baby with an alien?" The captain could barely contain her disbelief. "Not exactly." Leah explained the process would be more scientific than most human reproduction. A genetic merger grown in a lab until viable. Then Zorala would carry it. "It's wrong," the captain protested. "You're being forced to create life." "No," Leah said quietly. "I'm choosing this. Zorala isn't what we thought. The Acrelians aren't what we thought." And Leah hesitated. "I care for her." Barrett studied Leah's face for a long moment. Then she sighed. "Just be careful. This could still be an elaborate trap. Don't let your guard down." As Leah returned to the quarters she shared with Zorala, she found the princess examining holographic images of Acrelian alien hybrids from past generations. Some looked more Acrelian, others took after their alien parents, but all had a strange beauty, a uniqueness that transcended species. "These are my ancestors' cousins," Zorala explained. "There have been 17 successful royal hybrids in our history. Each brought new strengths to our people, new ways of thinking, new adaptations, but none with humans. Our species have never been this close before." "Have you decided?" Zorala asked, her scales shifting nervously. "Will you help me create our child?" Leah took a deep breath. "You understand what you're asking of me? This isn't just a scientific procedure. This is creating a new life, a being that will need care, guidance, love." "I understand," Zorala said, her voice solemn. "I will love our child with all that I am. It will want for nothing, and neither will you if you choose to remain with us." "Remain?" Leah echoed, surprised. "You would want me to stay?" The princess moved closer, her scales glowing with a warm golden light. "The bondmate ceremony was meant as a punishment, but it need not be," she said softly. "I have grown to admire you, Leah Morrison, your intelligence, your compassion, your strength. If you wished it, the bond could be real." Leah felt something shift inside her. The strangeness of Zorala's alien form had faded with familiarity. Now she saw only the person, the intelligent, sensitive being who looked at her with such hope. She reached out, touching Zorala's face, feeling the smooth, warm scales beneath her fingers. "I will help you," she said. "And perhaps when this is over, I might stay to see what becomes of our child, to see what becomes of us." The Emperor sat on his throne, his black eyes unreadable as Zorala and Leah entered the chamber. The court was assembled in full regalia, hundreds of Acrelians watching with interest. "My daughter," the Emperor said, his voice resonating through the chamber. "Is it true what the doctors report? You carry a hybrid child?" "I do, Father," Zorala replied, her voice steady. "The human Leah Morrison has helped create a new life, one that carries both our genetic heritage. The scans confirm it is developing normally." The Emperor was silent for a long moment, studying them both. "You understand what this means," he finally said. "According to our most ancient laws," Zorala stepped forward. "I do, Father. By creating a viable hybrid royal heir, I am entitled to independence from imperial control. I may choose my own path, free of arranged political unions." "And what path do you choose?" the Emperor asked his voice neutral. I choose to represent our people to the humans. Zarala said I will be an ambassador to foster understanding between our species. The humans are not the conquerors we feared. They are scientists, explorers, much like us. The Emperor turned his gaze to Leah. And you human, what do you choose? Leah took a deep breath. I choose to stay with Zarala, she said to raise our child together, and to help build a bridge between our peoples. Murmurs spread through the court. Some seemed shocked, others intrigued. A few of the older counselors nodded with approval. My daughter, the Emperor said, his voice softening slightly, you have fulfilled the ancient rite. The hybrid child you carry represents a new chapter for our people. As tradition dictates, you are now free to choose your own path. He rose from his throne, approaching them. With a gesture to his guards, he ordered, bring the human crew. Captain Barrett and the crew were brought to the throne room. Many looked confused, especially the Vexari, whose prank had led to this unexpected outcome. The Emperor addressed them all. A new age begins, he declared. We have mistaken the intentions of humans, believing them to be conquerors. We acted in defense. But through the ancient ritual of the royal hybrid, we have discovered a different truth. He gestured to Leah and Zarala, standing side by side. The princess and her human bondmate have created new life. A child that will be neither fully Akrelian nor fully human, but something new. Something that may help both our peoples understand each other better. The Emperor announced a new treaty between humans and Akrelians would be drafted. Celestial Wanderer would carry Princess Zarala back to human space as the first Akrelian ambassador captain. Barrett approached Leah after the ceremony was concluded. Well, she said with a wry smile, when I gave you that assignment to the botany lab, I never expected you'd end up creating interspecies diplomacy and a royal heir all at once. Leah laughed. It wasn't exactly in my career plans, either. She admitted. Barrett grew serious. You really want to stay with her? The captain asked. With the alien princess. Leah looked across the room where Zarala was speaking with some of the human crew members. The princess's scales were glowing with a warm golden light as she gestured animatedly, explaining something to the fascinated humans. Yes, Leah said, I do. It's hard to explain, but with her I feel I've found something I never knew I was looking for. The Vexari approached, next their insectoid forms, seeming almost sheepish if such a thing were possible. Their chittering translator voices were apologetic. We meant it as a joke, one of them said. We told the Akrelians that being forced to bond with an alien would be the ultimate humiliation for a human. We never expected. It's all right, Leah said with a smile. Sometimes pranks have unexpected consequences. Later, as the ship prepared to depart, Leah stood with Zarala in their new shared quarters on the human vessel. The princess scales glowed with a warm golden light as she placed Leah's hand on her abdomen. Our child will be the first of a new kind, Zarala said. Not just human, not just Akrelian, but something wonderful and new. A bridge between our peoples. Leah smiled. A bridge, she repeated, liking the metaphor, and a beginning. They stood together watching as the stars streaked past the viewport. Celestial Wanderer was carrying them toward Earth, toward a future neither could have imagined when they first met. Leah thought about the strange twists of fate that had brought them together. A surprise attack, a royal decree meant as punishment, a prank by the Vexari, all leading to this moment. Zarala sensed her thoughts. The universe has strange ways of bringing together those who are meant to find each other, she said. Her scales shifted to a deep blue that Leah had come to recognize as love. The medical bay had confirmed that their child was developing well. The scans showed a being with both human and Akrelian features, a true hybrid. The doctors were fascinated, monitoring the pregnancy closely. As the first of its kind, the child would be studied extensively, but also celebrated. Captain Barrett had adapted quickly to having an Akrelian princess aboard. She had assigned Leah and Zarala a diplomatic suite and given them free access to most areas of the ship. The crew initially wary had warmed to Zarala as they got to know her. Many were curious about Akrelian culture, and the princess was happy to teach them. The Vexari remained somewhat embarrassed by the outcome of their prank, but had also become protective of Leah and Zarala, their compound eyes watching for any sign of trouble. Their chittering laughter now friendly rather than mocking. As for the future, it remained uncertain. Earth might not welcome an alien princess with open arms. The Akrelian Empire might change its mind about peace with humans. But Leah and Zarala faced these possibilities together, united by the new life they had created, 1 month into their journey home. Leah awoke in the night to find Zarala standing by the viewport. Her scales were glowing softly, illuminating the darkness as she gazed at the stars. Her hand rested on her abdomen where their child grew. Leah joined her, wrapping an arm around the princess' waist. "Everything all right?" she asked. Zarala turned to her, those alien eyes. "Somehow now so familiar, so dear. I was thinking about names," she said. "We should choose one soon. A name that honors both our heritages." Leah smiled. It was such a human concern, such a universal one. Names, legacies, futures, all the things parents threw out. The cosmos must consider. What began as a prank had become something miraculous. She had found love in the most unexpected place, and soon they would be mothers to a child who might change the future of both their species. The stars continued their eternal dance outside the viewport as Celestial Wanderer carried them toward Earth and a future neither could have imagined. But whatever came next, they would face it together. Human, Akrelian, and the new life they had created. A family unlike any other in the galaxy.